Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's me, KiaSimone, and child, we got to get into this review of the Braxton family values, but y'all got to give me a second because I got some shit to get off my chest. There's just so much going on in the world, and I need to talk to somebody because how Medea say people's is dying that they had never died before. First it was Beat King, then Fat Man Scoop. I broke my, if you lived in the club like I lived in the club, Fat Man Scoop is your friend and your head. Then Rich Homie Quan going right behind. Do you know there's a whole era of my life that Rich Homie Quan is the soundtrack for? Now, I'm just now trying to wrap my mind around Rich Homie Quan gone and all the side chicks and baby mamas is popping out the woodwork all over the internet. And then Frankie. Y'all, Frankie gone. Frankie Beverly. I'm telling y'all, once I'm done with this review, if y'all looking for me, I'll be somewhere in all white with a glass of brown liquor stretched out. I guess they planning a party in heaven because they turned around and came and got Tito. It's just too much. And y'all know me. Y'all know I'm always looking for the lesson and something. Lord, what is you trying to tell us? Why are you taking everybody, Lord? And the only thing I can come up with is live like today is your last day. Live your damn life. Do what makes you happy. Go after whatever is in your heart. Do what satisfies your soul. Live like every day is your last because tomorrow is not promised. Just live your life. And I'm talking to me. And tell people you love them because the one thing we don't get in life a lot of times is knowing that this is going to be the last time you get to tell somebody that. So tell people you love them. Now that don't mean let nobody try you and run over you all kinds of ways because I still be handing people their ass with love. Now let's get into the episode. Before we do, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you've not already. Of course, I have to shout out my channel supporters. Shout out on Cash App to Tracy W. and to Deborah C. I ain't gonna say y'all whole names so people don't be tracking y'all down, asking y'all for $12 too. And on Super Thanks, thank you so much to Granny, the Great, Tanya Fuller, and Yvette Greer. I love y'all. I really, truly appreciate all the support that y'all show on my channel, whether it be through the Super Thanks or the Cash App or liking, sharing, subscribing. I appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart. Now, speaking of live every day like it's your last and love everybody and forgive quickly, let's get into the episode. Oh, and speaking of people dying and stuff, there were a number of comments in regard to what was in Tracy's will and reading Tracy's will. And Tracy's will is public record. You can go read it for yourself and see what she wanted and see what her specifications were of her request. I'm going to tell y'all with all due love and respect, that will never happen. Now, I don't say never a lot because my mom always tell me never say what you never do because you never know. But that ain't going to happen. I will not, for any reason, be going to dig up anybody's personal documents. For me personally, I don't care that it's public record. I think it should be a private matter. Now, this family has decided to publicize their issues and put them on a TV show. But if it's not in this TV show, I'm not going to dig it up. That's just not how I operate, especially when it comes to anybody's personal documents of any kind. I'm not going to read nary a soul's will. I don't want to read my own. Now, anybody else can do anything they want to do. And this is not anything against any other content creator, any other YouTuber, anything that chooses to do that. I'm just saying, as for me and my channel, we won't be doing it. I don't care to go digging up no bunch of past information and past episodes and go dig up this document and see what the will said. I'm not in them people family. I don't have no reason or right to be all up and through that lady's will. Whatever they're talking about on this TV is what I'm going to talk about. And if it got the ring of truth or the ring of crazy to it, I'm going to say just how I feel. So I love y'all, but I'm not going to read nobody's will. And to address the issue of some people feeling like I have a misunderstanding or misinterpretation of what Tracy's requests were, my thing is this. If this woman didn't want a sorority that she loved and participated in to have a service for her, if she didn't want people she knew and loved to have to grieve over her in that way, why would I be able to make sense of her husband, whether he sold tickets or gave free access? How can I make sense of him making her services some public service for the people? Like, personally, I don't agree with her husband's decision to give public access to whatever her final services were. I don't agree. And that's just my opinion. It is what it is. So this episode opens up with Toni going out to lunch with her mom because Toni wasn't able to make Tracy's birthday celebration. So the first thing she tells her mother when they go to sit down at this restaurant is that she got a cold. Her mama looked at her like, well, why the hell is you in my face? Toni said, I'm not contagious. Her mom said, oh, okay then. PSA, please stop inviting people places when you know you sick. Don't nobody want to sit across from you while you sniffling, sneezing, coughing, barely holding on to life. Now I got to eat my steak and potatoes, and the whole time I'm trying to smile in your face and act like everything is okay. I'm in my head begging God to not let me wake up dead fucking with you. But I mean, Miss Evelyn is a mama, and apparently she is not as dramatic as me, so she took it in stride. She sat there and had lunch with her daughter. So Toni and her mom are catching up about what's been going on because Toni wasn't able to make it to Tracy's birthday celebration. So her mom tells her, yeah, we had the celebration and little Kevin came, but little Kevin is going through it. She told her, you know, he's going through a divorce. He is going to be meeting with the family counselor. And she said in the confessional, I'm thinking he's going to need extensive counseling because of everything he's going through. I said, you doggone right about that. And Toni is saying how she's preparing for her residency and she's not nervous about it, but she is cautious because of her health issues. She says she doesn't want her lupus to flare up. She don't want her heart to start acting up. She just want to have a good time, giving a good show and collect her good check. Now they get into where I guess they're trying to have their own storylines. So the storyline for Miss Evelyn is that Toni is supposed to be hooking her up on a date. So she and Trina went shopping and found her address to go on a date. Toni looked confused as hell about I'm supposed to be, you seriously, you were serious? Toni got with it. Toni said, if that's what you want, all right. I mean, I'll find you somebody. She said, what kind of man you like? You want a retired athlete? She said, no, I don't like them. They done been through too much. Done got their body tore up. Their head halfway full because they done been knocked around too many times. No, I don't want none of them. So Toni asked her mom, she said, well, what about a professor? This lady said, I don't know about that. They might have Alzheimer's from using their brain too much. What? Maybe I'm ignorant. Is that way Alzheimer's using their brain too much? Don't they tell you to do like the exercise, the crossword puzzles and stuff to keep your brain? What? Toni said, all right, well, if you think everybody old, sick, and senile, I'll get you a 30, 40-year-old. You want one of them? She said, nah, we don't play like that. That's playing on the playground. I don't play that. Toni said, well, you know what? Clearly I can't help you. Maybe you need to go to your girlfriends. Maybe they can help you find somebody that's in their right mind, in a decent body that'll take you on a date, because I ain't got time. So then we move on and we see Tamar going to see Carlos King. She's going to do an interview with him. And I was just, Lord. This scene here gonna be a lot for me because Tamar and Carlos are the type to do a whole lot for no reason. So Tamar gets to explaining that the way that this whole thing came about is that when Tracy was sick, Tracy wanted to tell her story. So Tamar reached out to Carlos. And she says Carlos kept that secret ever since. And that's how they got to be so close. That made absolutely no sense to me. Because first of all, if when Tracy was sick, Tracy wanted to tell her story, why didn't Tracy tell her story? Did Tracy want to tell her story or did Tracy want her story told? Secondly, if she wanted to tell her story, and you were going to get this producer that was going to help with telling her story, why was it a secret? And if you went to Carlos on the basis of, I want to tell my sister's story, how does that get to be about you? I don't know. I'm just at the point where I feel like every single one of them is using Tracy's name to disguise their bullshit. Like, it's this disingenuous, oh, we're doing this in the name of our sister. But everything that they're doing in the name of their sister is for their own personal benefit. So they're backstage having their pre-interview conversation. And Tamar is asking Carlos, so what we doing? So, wait, hold on now. You went all the way down there for an interview and you don't know what the point or purpose of this shit is? Tamar and Carlos in there with all that damn hollering. Carlos is about, this is all about you. Tamar said, yeah, you such a producer. It's all about me. That's your way of telling me to get out here and tell all my business. So now Tamar in the confessional about everybody wants to know about the Braxtons and why it's coming back, and especially me, why I'm going back. I said, who the hell is everybody? Because I'd have been up and through this damn internet and I didn't see no damn body. Asking, well, why are they coming back? Why is Tamar going back? Just say you here to promote the show. And she about pissed me off because she said, first of all, I don't have anything to hide. My truth is my truth. It is the truth. And I'm here for Tracy. Just what the heck? Just why do y'all keep throwing that? And I'm here for Tracy. This is about Tracy to justify y'all. Just say you are pursuing your own stardom. Like, girl, bye. They talked about what prompted her to get into reality TV and why she thought that would be the next phase of her career. And her explanation was that we used to have a myriad of Black scripted TV shows. And at some point in time, all of those shows went away and we didn't have any real representation of Black women on TV in any capacity, and so she thought that that would be her family. So Carlos goes on to tell Tamar how when the show first aired, he was immediately drawn to her. She was clearly the breakout star, and she's like, well, why? Why were you drawn to me? And of course, they showed all the footage of Tamar from way back when, and this is why. And actually, Tamar kind of was a really fun personality. When the show first aired, when they first started out, I thought Tamar was so fun. I loved seeing her get her music career off the ground, and then something somewhere shifted or exposed itself. I don't know what it is, but it was like over time, the exposure, the fame, the coming into her own career, it just went to her head and she kind of lost it. And even that charm that she had, where she was fun and funny, it went from being charming to being annoying. So Carlos goes on to ask Tamar if her being this clear breakout star had any effect on the relationship with her and her family. Well, if you ever watch the show, you know that. Like, what are you at, man? Well, Tamar starts out trying to play coy. She's, oh, you're so messy. It's Messy Monday. I don't know how to answer that question. Somebody said, honestly, and all of a sudden, she knew just how to answer it. Well, if I'm being honest, yeah, it did create a lot of tension between me and my family. Yeah, it sure did. So Carlos goes on to ask her, do you regret doing the show? Do you feel like if y'all had never done the show, your relationships would be in a better place? And she said, relationship-wise, yes, I do think the show affected us, and I think we would have been better off had we not done it. But for the culture, no. I feel like this was absolutely necessary for the culture. Girl, I don't know, could be me, but I don't think airing my dysfunctional family's drama is the influence that I want to be on the culture. Now, I get that every family has drama and issues, and what she's saying is that we presented ourselves, flaws and all, so that the culture, the people, could have something to relate to. But what has it gotten y'all? How can you really say it's worth it? Because yeah, we're public figures and everybody knows our family and everybody knows our business, but it has cost you damn near every relationship in your family, your marriage, which she went on to say the same why her marriage broke up, but all right. Honestly, I remember Tamar on her own spinoff show when she was dating the man David or whatever his name was, and she was seeing some psychic lady, some dream interpreter or something, and she had some dream where she talked about, I think she got in a car with Tyler Perry, and they're driving along, and somehow I guess the car loses control and they crash into something, and she didn't know what that dream represented, and the lady was supposed to be trying to help her break that down. But I honestly think that that dream is some form of representation of what happened with her family. Like, yeah, y'all might have had one intention when y'all got into this vehicle of a show, but this went left, lost control, and crashed and burned. I just don't understand, after all the stuff that has transpired, how you could say it's worth it. Tamar goes on in the confessional to explain that the reason she feels like Braxton Family Values was good for the culture is because, first of all, people needed to understand that they are not outcasts, that they are a family much like any other family, and that there were a lot of lessons in Braxton Family Values that a lot of people could learn from and relate to. And sometimes watching other people go through stuff helps you to get through your own stuff. Now, my thing is this. I don't know if the intention is to be some form of a martyr, but what good is it to be such a help, such an influence to the culture, and help other people overcome their issues if you are stuck in yours? Because this group of sisters, the relationships amongst these sisters is far worse than when this show started out. Carlos goes on to ask Tamar about going back to the time when her dreams started coming true. He asked her, does she feel like she got all of her dreams at the cost of her marriage? And Tamar gave a long form answer that was basically no. She said that when she and Vince started dating, she was 26 years old. And she feels like when you get with someone that young, that early in life, you grow up together. And sometimes when you grow up with your partner, you can grow apart from your partner. She said while she's learned a lot from Vince, she is more proud of the artist and businesswoman that she is today. She said that she was very young when she and Vince were together, and her love for him was real. It was true. But she also feels like it was just for that time. So, no. Now, that very well may be true. None of us were on the inside of her marriage, so we don't know. But I'ma just say, as a viewer who watched Braxton Family Values and Tamar and Vince and all that stuff, Tamar kinda, to me, came across like her head just blew completely up. When this show finally hit the air and she was about to get her album, and it was like her head blew up and she almost became insufferable. Now, that's not to say that Vince didn't have his issues, that he didn't bring his own issues to the marriage, but there just was something that felt like it shifted. Carlos moves on to announce that Braxton Family Values is back, and he asked her how filming is going. She said, I don't know, because I'm just a friend to the show. Carlos looking around like, how the hell you a friend to a show that's about your family? What? Well, Tamar said it was set up that way per her request. She said because she has to be mentally responsible. She said the last time they did this show, it about took her up out of here, and she ain't trying to do that. She said there were rumors that everything she went through in terms of her mental breakdowns and all that, that was fake, and that was just her trying to get out of a contract. She finds that to be absolutely ridiculous. She said she really was going through it. She said, I really did feel captive, and I've been wanting to quit Braxton Family Values since season 3. And they cut back and showed us a scene where I think they were at a counseling session with Dr. Sherry, and Tamar was stomping out and going off about how everybody has made up their mind about her and she's done. She don't want to film this show anymore. And I do feel like in this sister group, they do have a tendency to become cliquish amongst themselves, where they can exclude 1 or 2 people and the rest of them will click up together. However, I do also feel like back then, Tamar had an issue of throwing people's lives, their shortcomings, their flaws in their face and telling them how her life was so much better, especially because she was married to Vince. And then when anybody would say anything back to her, say something about Vince, check her the way she was checking them, her feelings were hurt and people were going too far. And it was like there was a double standard. So I do get that there's an issue in this family dynamic, especially amongst these sisters. However, I feel like back then and now, Tamar had and has an issue with taking full accountability for her contribution to the failures in relationships. Tamar said the first time around doing this show, she almost lost her life, and she just can't put herself in that position again. She has to be here for herself. She has to be here for her son. I said, so why? If that's the case, if you felt like that and you have such an aversion to filming this show and it caused so much upheaval in your life, why, when your sister came to you and said, I want my story told, was the first thing you did run to a reality TV show producer? So then Carlos goes on to ask Tamar, does she feel less pressure being a friend to the show because now you don't have the pressure of carrying the show again? Tamar looking around, but no, that's not accurate. Y'all tune in for Toni Braxton, and y'all tune in for Tracy and for Trina. Trina's a hoot. You got one more. So here come Carlos, but we love to wander. She said, yeah. Well, so we move on from this interview and we go to see Miss Evelyn, their mom, going to lunch with her girlfriends who happen to be Judge Maybelline Ephraim, Miss Marla Gibbs, and Marla Gibbs' daughter, Angela. Now, as much as I love Judge Maybelline, pay the cost to be the boss Ephraim, and as much as I love Mary, why is this scene here? I just feel like this is a whole bunch of filler stuff. And it really kind of shows us y'all don't have no real storyline outside of we're here for Tracy. So they started asking Miss Evelyn about her preferences. What are you looking for in a guy? She said, first of all, he got to be tall. He got to have some sense, and he got to have some dollars to go with it. He need to have a bag. Judge Maybelline said, not a colostomy bag. Now, Judge Maybelline started asking the real questions. She said, now as they age, the men's, they don't tend to be as interested in the sensuality and the sexuality of things. So is that something that's important to you? Because Judge Maybelline looked like that's important to her. She looked like she lived until she died. Now, y'all know Miss Evelyn is from the church, so she know how to package things. She said, well, if the desire should hit me, I want him to be able to meet all of my needs. Well, okay. Now, Judge Maybelline with her legal eagle ears said, y'all heard what she said, right? She said, if the desire should hit me, who you think you talking to? I said, not damn. They didn't know your ass was around there hot. Yeah, you be riding there to the senior center. Tear it down. Don't play that bullshit with us. Miss Evelyn said, especially because she's 48 and holding. I said, not 48 and holding. Miss Marla Gibbs said, well, I'm 30. If she's 48, I'm 30. I said, not 30. Now, you doing a little too much. You going a little too young. She said, well, as spiritual beings, we don't have an age. So I choose to vibrate somewhere around 30. You better live your best life all your life. Now they start messing with Miss Marla about why would you say vibrate? Change the word vibrate. She look at them like y'all can vibrate on the hell. I'm not changing. So her daughter leaned over and asked her, is sex important to you? She said, well, been there, done that. She said, actually, it's something you can do for yourself. Well, damn. Lord, if you could just get me to the age where I don't care about nothing. I just say whatever come to my mind. I be doing that sometimes now, but I want it like that. Please, Lord. So then we move on to a photo shoot for Toni's son because he wants to get into modeling and she wants to get into momageering. The child done told her he want to do this on his own. Yeah, I know you was Toni Braxton and all that, but I want to be successful in my own right. So I don't need you running around throwing your name around, but yeah, that's my son, give him a job. But Toni said she don't give a damn about none of that. She said, I've been in this business a very long time, and so I'm gonna stop in on this photo shoot and see exactly what's going on. As far as I'm concerned, it's a business meeting and I'm just checking to see what they meeting about when it comes to my child. She said, I'm gonna try my best not to embarrass him. I'm gonna try not to be a full-on black mama, but I'm going to see what's going on with my child. Now, before you know it, Toni over there, can I see the pictures? Can I see what you already did? Her son said, here she goes. She probably about to take a picture of this and post it to Instagram with some cringy caption. Toni said, I don't understand why my child is like, why are these boys like this? Are you serious, mom? Seriously, mom? She said, most people enjoy having their picture taken with me. Yeah, baby, because to most people, you are the Toni Braxton. To them, you is my mama. My mama used to say that about me. She said, don't nobody question her gangster like her child. She said, now everybody else know I am the one, never the two. But definitely not here. Don't take me serious. Well, after Toni done jumped into the boy hole photo shoot and they taking mommy and me pictures, they did find one picture that he liked. He said, you can post that one. Now, don't run out. So Toni sat down and talked to her son, and he's saying how he thinks he wants to take modeling seriously. And he goes on to say, you know, I'll always be appreciative of my upbringing and of you and my dad and our whole family being behind me. And I'll always be Toni Braxton's son, but I want Denim Braxton to mean something. I want my own name in my own right. And I can't do anything but respect that. I think that's a beautiful thing. And what it says to me is that Toni has raised children who are not just dependent on her stardom, that are not just, oh, my mom's famous, my mom's rich, and so I don't have to ever be or do anything. I think it speaks volumes that she raised these young men who really want to be successful in their own right. And of course, being Toni Braxton's son is going to open doors. It's going to give you an advantage. But the fact that he wants to succeed organically, that I don't want it to be just some nepotism bullshit where your mama got all the connections and you gonna get all the jobs because your mama got the connections. I think that speaks volumes about the character of who she raised. So we move on and we see Miss Evelyn getting ready for her blind date, and they got her in the confessional touching up her hair and makeup. She said, y'all get me right because you know I'm trying to catch my children a stepdaddy. At this point, you getting your grandchildren or granddad. Just But she got to the restaurant and she said, I ain't had to look hard to find my date. It's that man with that gray beard over there. I see him. Well, she sashayed to that table and put her arm out like, I know you see me. That man said, well, hey, that's all right now. Well, Mr. had liked what he seen because he jumped up and hugged her. He said, yeah, where I'm from, we hug. We don't shake ladies' hands. I bet y'all do. So now Miss Evelyn in the confessional, but I mean, he was tall enough. I like him taller. And for some reason, he around here dressed like Barney. He had on a bunch of purple, but I mean, if that's what he want to do, alrighty then. So they introduced themselves to one another. His name is Shelly. She said, well, I'm Evelyn Braxton. He said, I didn't know that. She said, yeah, right. He said, now listen, I'm telling you right now, I like to have a good time. I like to laugh, crack me a joke here and there, so I hope you all right with that. He said, well, tell me about you and we'll get back to me. She said, all right, well, I got married when I was 2. I had my oldest child when I was 3. I got divorced when I was about 10. I have 6 children and the rest is history. Well, he was tickled. I guess she said, you ain't the only one got jokes around here. Mr. Shelley said, well, I would think it'd be a million men trying to knock your door down. How did I get so lucky? Miss Evelyn said, because maybe the men who knocked on my door, I just didn't answer for. He said, all right now, well, let me just count my blessings and mind my business. So now the young lady comes over to take their order. Why this man turning and asking, what y'all got that's black folk food? When I tell you older people don't give a damn, they gonna ask you just whatever they want to know. Y'all ain't got nothing for us in here. The girl said, we got a chicken sandwich. You want that? He said, yeah, bring me that. I'll take that. Miss Evelyn said, yeah, bring me that too. Thank you. So while they're waiting on their order to come out, we see them having conversation and they're kind of cutting through the conversation and showing us these little clips and scenes. And we see Mr. Shelley telling Miss Evelyn, first of all, 3 people live in my house. It's me, myself, and I. I said, I know that's right. He also said he was in Tyler Perry's first 2 movies. And he's been in quite a few fashion shows, so yeah, I got some credits to my name too. He told her his kids trying to stop him from driving, sir. I don't think they help your case. I don't. Now, half the time the man talking, Miss Evelyn giving him that, yeah, you full of eye. In the confessional, they asked Miss Evelyn, would you see him again? This lady sat there for a second. She looked around and she said, for someone else, I think he would be a great guy. For me, not so much. She said it was a nice outing, it was a nice gathering, but I didn't see a need to exchange numbers. Now, Miss Evelyn, who do you like? Do you like anybody? Do you want Denzel himself? Because he married. And trust me, I get that at her stage of life, you know what you want. Now, I'm not putting up with nothing I don't. I ain't dealing with none of that bullshit. I done dealt with it. I ain't doing it again. However, I also feel like she kind of has this disposition where she finds the flaw. Like, she doesn't necessarily look for what she likes. She looks for what she doesn't like and kind of highlights that. That's just how she comes across to me. So they wrap up their lunch and we move on to the final scene of the show, which is where we're going to see little Kevin. He started his grief counseling with the counselor Spirit. In the counseling session, he was sharing with Spirit that he felt blindsided by his divorce. He felt like it came out of nowhere. He said he would tell his wife that he wanted to fight for his family, and she told him there's nothing to fight for. Now, I can't say whether the girl is right or wrong because I'm not inside their marriage. And I know how a man can do everything but show up for his relationship, and then when you say, you know what, I'm done with this, then where does this come from? So I get that that's a possibility, and I don't want to just say, oh, she's a dirty bitch. But even considering all of the possibilities and who could be at fault, I still feel bad for him to have lost his mom and to now be going through a divorce. And then we find out later in the scene, she whooped his ass in divorce court. It was, oh God. So after they show us the clip of his counseling session, they start putting all these explanations on the screen. They're explaining that he had his first grief counseling session and that it was very emotional. That after the session, he went to take a lunch break with the rest of production. But I guess he went off somewhere by himself. Production realized they hadn't heard from him. They go to check on him and they find him on the floor unresponsive. And when they found him on the floor, they called Tawanda, who was already en route. So the next thing we see is Tawanda showing up asking, where is he? And the production is telling her that he definitely had a seizure. He has come out of it, but I don't know what's going on. So my first question was, you mean to tell me y'all called Tawanda and not the damn EMS? Y'all found him on the floor unresponsive and ain't nobody think to call the crash wagon? Ain't nobody think, you know what? Maybe we might need to get him some medical attention. Y'all just thought, you know what? I think Tawanda know what to do. Now, if they did call the EMS, they didn't show that. And my thing is, they're showing everything else. I would imagine that if they did call for some sort of professional medical help for the damn boy, they would have shown us that. Now, the showrunner also explained to Tawanda that another member of production left to go get little Kevin's medicine, but you should definitely check on him. Little Kevin is supposed to catch a flight that night, but they don't know if he's going to be well enough to do that. And as they're going in to check on him, Tawanda said that it was the ex-wife that called her and told her something had happened. She said the ex-wife was on FaceTime with him. So now I hear the showrunner go by, yeah, he got a lot going on. You don't damn say. Tawanda goes on to explain that the seizures are stress-induced. It's because he has a lot going on, because he never had this issue prior to his mom passing. And in the confessional, Tawanda is saying how she's so thankful that production was there when he had the seizure because at least he wasn't alone. Well, I'm gonna tell you in just a second why that pissed me off. Tawanda goes in and hugs him. He says, I gotta start taking my medication more. She said, yes, you do. Now let's call your grandmama and tell her you done fell out. So while he's talking to his grandmother, Tawanda notices some swelling on his arm where he hit himself when he fell. They call for ice. Production comes in with the ice and his medication. And production is telling him something about take it twice a day. Now, the way the lady said it, I'm going to assume that he is prescribed to take the medication twice a day and is only taking it once. Because I'm trying to figure out where's your white coat to be telling people how many times a day to take their medication, especially when y'all wouldn't call EMS when they fell the hell out. And Miss Evelyn seemed to be the only one in the mix with some sense. She asked why they telling him about taking his medication, is he at the hospital? No, ma'am, that's not a nurse you hear, that's production. So then little Kevin goes on to explain that he has court the very next day. I'm trying to figure out why, if y'all know this young man is going through a tumultuous divorce and he had court scheduled for the very next day in Maryland, why do y'all have him in Georgia to shoot a scene? That right there tells me he is not the priority. He's the pawn. Y'all are using him to have a TV show because though none of them really have storylines, there's nothing really interesting happening with any of them. So I guess at some point between Tawanda getting there and him regaining consciousness, little Kevin must have spoken to his wife. He said that Olivia said she would reschedule the court date, which was the very next day. So Tawanda said, well, let me call her and see if I can make sure that she's going to do that. So she calls her and you can hear her on the phone telling her that he's not recommended to fly tonight. Now, this is what pissed me off. After Tawanda talked to his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife, Olivia, little Kevin said, now, here's the part. I don't know about being by myself in that hotel tonight. You could tell he just did not want to be alone. And Tawanda looks at him and says, you scared to be in the hotel by yourself? And he said, well, I mean, if y'all could just check on me, if she, of course we will. You know we gonna check on you. You ain't even gonna get no sleep because it's gonna be so many people calling and checking on you. This man, hold on, because I'm gonna curse her out. Y'all are the epitome of trifling. Period, point blank. For you to be sitting in front of your nephew, who is your dead sister's child, who just had a seizure, and this child tell you I'm scared to be by myself. And you, oh, well, you know we gonna check on you. I wouldn't give a damn if I had to sleep on my floor. Baby, you come home with me. You mean to tell me nobody had no room at their house? He couldn't come to your house. He couldn't go to Trina's house. He couldn't go to his grandmama's house after he has a whole seizure, a whole condition he has developed on the heels of his mother passing away. All you know how to tell him is, well, we'll call you through the night. They need this whoop. He couldn't go to nobody's house. But y'all want us to believe that this is about little Kevin, and this is about Tracy, and this is about family. Miss me with that bullshit. So we move on to the next day, and where's little Kevin? In the hotel room. He's being visited by his grandmother, Miss Evelyn, and his aunt Trina. So Trina said in the confessional that she got a text from little Kevin saying that there had been developments in his divorce. So they're there to check on him and get those updates. He said not only was him having a seizure the day before very scary, but he just found out that the wife did not reschedule the divorce, that she actually went to court and went through with it. She got the divorce finalized, she got the house, and she got full custody of their child. He told them this was a gut punch, that this was very hard for him. He said on top of what he's already going through with her wanting a divorce, he feels absolutely betrayed because she told me she would reschedule this and she just didn't. I'm sorry. I just find that to be some dirty. This man had a whole medical episode, and it would be one thing if you just straight up say, hey, that ain't my problem. I don't give a damn. You've been a dirty motherfucker. I'm tired of you. I want this marriage over with. I'm going to take the house, the kid, the cars, everything. It would be one thing if you were straight up with your contention. But for somebody to have a whole medical episode and you to say, okay, well, I'll be compassionate and considerate and I'll work with you, and then turn around and do them in, like, now I personally probably would never trust the person I'm divorcing. They say that's not the thing to do, but I think he has a naivete about him. And I think that he thought, even though we're going through a divorce, maybe she still cares about me and I still care about her and she won't do me like that. Well, Trina and Miss Evelyn told him that he can definitely appeal the decision about the child's custody. And Trina told him, listen, you've been through a lot in 24 hours. You had a whole seizure, got divorced, your wife done took the house and the kid. That's a lot for one person. But Miss Evelyn told him, you gonna be all right. You gonna get through this. The first thing you gonna do is you gonna contact your lawyer and you gonna make sure that you're in that child's life because he needs you as a father. But you gonna bounce back from this. And you know why you gonna bounce back? Because you are your mother's son. She said because Tracy didn't let things keep her down. She was the kind of person that if you pushed her down on one side, she popped up on another. She said, and you got the same thing in you. And Miss Evelyn is in the confessional saying that right now she's worried for her grandson because she believes in her most ministerial voice that he is in the valley of the shadow of death. And it's going to be difficult for him to find happiness while he's there. He has to get through it first before he can find his happiness. And she feels like he's going to be going through it for a while. I don't know if I'm judging this too harshly, but I was disgusted by this episode. The way this episode ended absolutely disgusted me because they've made this whole thing about it's all about little Kevin. It's all about Tracy. And we brought the show back for Tracy's memory and Tracy's legacy. But y'all got her son out here telling all his business, falling out. Wouldn't nobody even call an EMS for the child. He's scared to be by himself and y'all leave him in a hotel. He start telling y'all all the problems he got going on. Ain't nobody got no answers or no help for him. Just you'll be all right. That's it. That's all. I ain't got no more. I'm tired of these people. I'm real disgusting. But thank you so much for coming down here listening to me and letting me get this off my chest. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you've not already. And in the meantime, until next time, just like every time, please know I love you and I mean it. Bye.